Welcome to Michael Potts F1, everything Formula One, but from a photographer's point of view. Ferrari have completely changed the game when they launched the SF23 this year. This was a new level in car launches. Not only did we see the real car, but we also saw the real car on track being driven by real drivers. This wasn't last year's show car with this year's designs on it or some half-assed digital renderings half showing what the new car is going to be. This was real. It takes an awful lot of guts to drive your car for the very first time while the whole world is watching. There are a million things that could have gone wrong. Ferrari are exceptionally confident at the moment, and that confidence exuded everything at the launch. You felt that doing something this extreme wasn't actually a gamble for them because they just know that they've got something really, really good. The contrast between this and Red Bull's launch couldn't have been more pronounced. Red Bull had a very glitzy, glamorous launch in New York, but it was a bit more style over substance. Ferrari have returned to their roots. They did their launch at their test track in Fiorano. They had a grandstand full of tifosi, the Ferrari fans there to watch the car. This is a track that is in Ferrari heartland. Maranello is just up the road. This track is steeped within Ferrari folklore. Michael Schumacher holds a lap record. Enzo Ferrari used to have a house on the track. From there, he could watch his glorious Scarlet creations testing away without the annoyance of having other cars on the track at the same time. There's so much to talk about in this launch, but the first thing we need to look at is not something you'll see, but it's something you'll hear. Because one of the biggest changes at Ferrari over the winter were changes to the engine. There's reports suggesting that they might have got at least 30 horsepower out of the new upgrades. Now, these are not new horses. This is Ferrari bending the rules a little bit, because at the moment, all Formula One engines are frozen for new development. You can make changes if it's for reliability. And let's face it, looking back at last year, Ferrari needed to do something about their reliability. So hopefully, with this upgrade, they can run at full potential without their cars bursting into flames. In terms of how it looks, the SF23 is an evolution of last year's car. They've appeared to keep the same design philosophy. They have the same sunken side pods, although those aren't as extreme as they were last year. It is very different to the other cars we've seen so far, apart from the Haas. And you can understand why they've kept to this philosophy. It wasn't a bad concept. They got more pole positions than any other team last year. It was only in the races where things came unstuck. When you view the car from the top, you can see how wide it is compared to the McLaren and the other Red Bull-esque cars. When we look at it from the front, you can see there's been a bit of an evolution since last year. The side pod inflow area is a lot narrower and a lot tighter. Had Ferrari decided to ditch this concept and go down the Red Bull route like a lot of the other teams have done, they'd be quite far behind Red Bull in the development cycle, always playing catch-up and never really being on an even keel with them. One of these concepts is going to have more development potential, and it's going to be interesting to see which one it is. Like other teams, Ferrari have increased the amount of carbon fibre in an attempt to cut down the weight of the car. The car looks really balanced. It looks really beautiful, like most Ferraris are. On the rear wing, they've added the company logo, which is something that they ran at the Italian Grand Prix last year. The driver lineup stays the same, and at the launch you got a sense of how good their relationship was with each other. There's a lot of mutual respect, a lot of positivity. It's not something you see with many other teams at the top end of Formula One. We also got to see the drivers' 2023 helmet designs. Carlos has his influence by the Spanish flag, and Charles has elements of the Monaco flag in his. This is quite similar to what they had last year, and it's actually a little bit frustrating because they're both quite similar. They're both quite red, so it's harder to tell the drivers apart when you're out on track. Fred Vasseur is the new team principal, replacing Matteo Binotto. It's actually really sad not seeing Matteo at Ferrari anymore. He did an awful lot to turn this team around, and most of this car would have been developed under his guidance. In Fred, they have a real racer as team principal. No cigarette marketing manager this time around. He has an engineering and aeronautics background. He's been a team leader and a principal for about 27 years, starting with his own team in 1996. He's led teams that have won titles in all the junior series, working with drivers such as Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. He moved to Formula One in 2016, where he was a team principal at Renault, before moving to Alfa Romeo. As a Ferrari customer, he's had a lot of experience working with the team. He is a vastly experienced and very, very successful team principal. He's now working for Ferrari, and that is a different beast entirely. Thank you for watching this Ferrari livery launch. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this and you haven't yet, please do like and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel, and it helps me bring you loads more very cool Formula One stuff during the course of the year. If you'd like any Ferrari photographs, there's a link to my shop in the description below, and there's a discount code so you can save 10% on all purchases. The next launch is going to be Mercedes. So until then, goodbye.